Hey booktube, it's your basic booktuber bitch back with another book related video. What else would it be on a booktube channel? I am the book mage, and this little furry blob in the bottom corner is my cat's arse because she's sleeping just in frame and I don't want to move her, so admire her as you will. I'm sorry that I've been absent from booktube for just a little bit, but I'm smack in the middle of my Japanese language exams, so I kind of had to put book things on hold for a minute, but not this video. So if you didn't notice by the title or thumbnail already, I have finally got my hands on a copy of The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Can we please just take a minute to admire this book? Just look at it. Look at it. It's so shiny. There's another dragon on the back. Just look at it. Just look at this map. There's a second map. Just this book is so many levels of gorgeous, and just little magpie me, I'm just really attracted to shiny books, and I'm so glad that I have like my grubby little corvid mitts on this. So this giant behemoth of a book, I think this is just like over 800 pages long. This gigantic book came out 2 days ago. It is the 28th now, and this book released for the first time on the 26th. So if you'd seen my other video about the top 19 books that I want to read in 2019, I'm pretty sure this was on there. From what I understand, this is like a loose feminist retelling of the legend of St. George and the Dragon, and it has a lesbian romance in there, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, feminism and lesbians and dragons? Is there anything else a girl could want in a book? There are mages in this, by the way, so mages and dragons are two of like my top 3 favourite things in literature. So yes, please, I would like to read this book. So I actually had the pleasure of going to see Samantha Shannon talk about her book in person last night at an event hosted by my local Waterstones. At the event, the author talked about you know, her process of writing, where she got the ideas from, her inspiration for writing this, as well as things like her favourite characters, and honestly just a lot of gushing about dragons and how cool dragons really are. And I'm gonna have to blur my name. I actually had the pleasure of getting my copy signed by the author, and I think that makes this the first like officially traditionally published book I've ever had that was signed. So I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm just gonna spend literally the entirety of today doing nothing but reading this book, and I thought it would be fun to like vlog, like a little reading vlog, so that you can sort of have like my live reactions as I get through this. I've heard that like the first 100 pages or so might be a little slow. Honestly, this book does not faze me. It has dragons in it, and this could be a 100,000 page book, and you could tell me that the first 1,000 pages was slow. But honestly, if it's got dragons in it, like, I'm gonna read till it gets good. For the dragons. There's no limit. There's no limit to my love for dragons. So with that super long intro out of the way, hopefully you're gonna enjoy my little reading vlog. I already know I'm talking too much because I'm real thirsty already. Thirsty for them dragons. Not in a furry way. Please, don't come at me in the comments. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm now 22 pages into this, and I just have to say really quick, I love the little doodles at the top of the page to let you know when you're switching between the east and the west. So I think we have met 3 of our 4 perspectives. It's all written in third person, so it's not like you would get a first person perspective. I have to say, like, so far I really like the writing style. I know, like, the second I read the first page I knew immediately that this is not going to be for everyone. I know there are some people that don't like, it's not flowery and it's not purple prose, but it's written in that sort of, it's not archaic, it's just old-fashioned. It's like very prim, proper, like old, slightly out of date sounding a way of writing English. I like this style. It just feels a little bit classical. So far the world is really holding my attention. Like, I don't really know how to say it, but there's been so many, like, just completely just thrown in with no explanation, a whole bunch of place names, people names, titles, orders, and like specific words that the author is using for things that pertain to society and religion, and there's more for me to find out. And this sort of style of just throwing you in the midst of it, I really like this book so far. I really like the style. I'm quite captivated with the world at the moment. The author did say that she was very inspired by the Elizabethan era when she was writing specifically about the West in this book, and I can totally see that. So I think I'm gonna go downstairs and make myself a drink, and then we are going to continue to read this downstairs because yeah, I feel like that would probably be better. Okay guys, don't judge me for how much sugar I'm about to put in this, but I like my tea sweet. Okay, I've just gotten to the point where they've it's really seen some dragons. Like, there's some pretty good descriptions of a lot of dragons. I'm just really enjoying this book so far. So I've moved up to the sofa and I've got my cup of tea, so ignore the fact that I have a Slytherin blanket on, even though I'm clearly a Ravenclaw. But it's cold and this was the blanket that was available, so let's not look too much into that, shall we? Also, the real challenge is going to be like holding this giant hardback book in one hand to read and my tea in the other, so let's see how that goes. Hey guys, so it's been a couple days and I'm almost at the end of Priory. So I haven't had exactly the time to devote to this book that I would have liked, but I'm pretty much at the end and I think I can get this finished today. I think there's only like 100-ish pages left, maybe 150. I'm not 100% sure so far like what my rating is going to be for this book. Like, I've had a number in mind and I just kept expecting it to change. It didn't change, but I'll like withhold my judgment right till the end because, you know, a lot can happen in 100, 150-ish pages. I will say I am enjoying it so far. Like, I have liked reading this book. I have just got out of the shower, so I'm feeling fresh and refreshed and, you know, ready to do some more reading about gritty dragons. So depending on what else I have to do today, I do have some homework to do. Am I going to do my homework? Yeah, I'm probably going to do my homework. But yeah, I think maybe I could finish this before my class this evening. Possibly. I don't know. But we'll see. I definitely don't want to take this on the bus with me. So yeah, stay with me for my final judgment, possibly very soon. Okay, so I've just gotten to part 6. It's probably too bright for you to see that. And it's nearly midday, so I think I'm gonna make some food and then carry this on. It seems like a good place to pause. Also, the title of just The Keys to the Abyss makes me think so hard of Dragon Age and Here Lies the Abyss, and now I'm having Dragon Age feelings, and this also means that my cat is gonna have to move. I would like to get up and get some food. Can you move? Okay, so I finally finished reading The Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't know, I feel like I have a few, I don't want to say mixed feelings because that makes me sound as though I didn't rate it very highly. I would say, just to get it out of the way, I rated this overall a 4 stars. I had kind of really hoped that it would be a 5-star. I'd really hoped that this would be my first 5-star read of the year. I mean, it's got dragons and mages and a lesbian romance, and it's this whole retelling of a fable that I know very well, and it has this like east meets west meets south sort of dynamic of multiple cultures, and it's so diverse and the writing is beautiful, but there just wasn't that little something extra that made it a 5 stars for me. Like, as I was reading this, I just didn't feel it, you know? I just didn't feel that this was a 5-star read for me, which is kind of sad, but like 4 stars is still like a really high rating, and I really did enjoy this book overall. One thing I will say is, I know I mentioned that some people might struggle with some of the language if you don't know a lot of the very precise, technical, even archaic terms for things like parts of armor or parts of formal dresses and things like that, which I kind of take for granted, but then this is like my area of study. So it turns out, and I did not realize this, there's actually like a glossary of terms in the back, which I did not know while reading this. But while that's fine for someone like me, I guess if you were maybe intimidated by the language in this, there is actually like a little mini dictionary at the back for some of the terms that you might not know, especially if you're like, I don't know, if you've not delved much into like historical language. Samantha Shannon does write with a very beautiful lexis, in my opinion. I honestly, my favourite thing about this whole book is just the text itself, the way that it's written. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying that everyone should, you know, shirk the modern vocabulary in favour for something a little bit more, I don't know, grandiose, elaborate, but it does really appeal to my particular area of taste and interest. So yeah, I think for me, just my favourite thing about the whole book, stories and characters and plot just all included, my favourite thing about this book was the prose, the text, the way that it's written, the way that Samantha Shannon writes. The writing doesn't often delve into the characters and their inner thoughts and inner feeling. We don't really get much of an inner monologue. The writing is very devoted to telling you what is happening rather than exactly how people are reacting to it. It won't outright tell you how somebody feels, but it will describe a change in their facial features or their countenance or posture or something like that. While I feel like it did make for a really interesting change, I feel like the trade-off for that was that we didn't get to see as deeply into the characters and their motivations and their personalities as much as I would have in another book. It's definitely not to say they felt bland or anything like that. Like, I really did like the characters. I don't think there were any characters that I disliked, like, as just characters on a page. You know, I liked the way we were presented with Sabran, and then over the course of the story we got this slow reveal of just the woman beneath the facade. I really liked how complex Tana was, the way she values things like honor and honesty, but at the same time there wasn't a lot of time devoted to exploring the characters and letting us get to know them personally. We could get to know them as much as possible just through the events of the story, but more than that, I don't know, I didn't really feel a huge emotional connection to any of the characters. I mean, maybe I'm just cold-hearted. I feel like getting me to, and I did care about them. I did care about them in that I wanted to know what happened and who would live and who would die. I feel like you could have killed anyone and I wouldn't have been sad or disappointed to see them go. Normally in books my connection to a character is an emotional one, where in this one it was more of like an invested interest in the events of that character's life, which again is very different than I'm used to. And it's not that I didn't like that, it's just I feel like if I had had more of an emotional connection to the characters, maybe this would have been a little bit closer to a 5-star. Again though, if the trade-off for that had to be the language, like as I said, my favourite thing about this book is just the language and the way that it's written, and I would not trade that for anything. As a trade-off, I feel like this was really good, and I think it shows because this is so far my highest rated book of the year. I know it might sound like I'm griping on it, but like, don't worry, I did really enjoy this book and it is lovely, and I will probably reread this at some point. Maybe not immediately because it's kind of a long book, but at some point. So I don't really want this to turn into like a review. I don't know whether I will do like a full review video on this, but I kind of want this to remain no spoilers. I don't know, I feel like at the start the character that I liked the most was Kit, and I won't say anything about that, but I think by the end of the book I think the character that I most enjoyed and the character that I most bonded with was Nicolaes. I feel like he just had the most personality. He was the one who just seemed the most vibrant on the page, with his opinions and motivations, and the way that his inner voice was presented on the page and through the text, you know, the parts that were his perspective I feel like they were the most easy to identify out of all 4 voices in the text. I feel like his was the most unique, maybe because he's like a really cranky, bitter old man who's like really sad and kind of a dick, but also I really liked his character. So I think at the end, my favourite character at the end was Nicolaes, and his story I think was the one that I was actually most interested in. So yeah, I feel like he was definitely the character that I felt like the biggest emotional connection to. I honestly thought that the character I would like most was Tanner. I don't know, and it's like while I did feel for her, I just felt like, I don't know, maybe there just wasn't enough of her there, or like her personality didn't come through enough for me. But either way, still really enjoyed this book, and I'm still really glad that I read it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed, I don't know, my little reading vlog. This is the first one I've ever done, and I have no idea how to structure a reading vlog. I have no idea, like, anything that I'm meant to do for a reading vlog. I mean, I filmed myself on and off as I read a book, and that, to my knowledge, is about as much as I know how to do. So yeah, this for me has been my favourite book so far this year, and I would say it was the most well crafted of the books that I have read recently. And I don't know, I really like the shift from reading a lot of samey feeling young adult to reading this just beautiful adult fantasy. And if you have not read this book yet, if you have not picked it up yet, I would definitely recommend it. I don't think I've heard anyone dislike of this book so far, so yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And I think that's it for like my reading vlog, because I have no more book to read, and so I guess I have nothing left to vlog. So with that said, yeah, I'm gonna go start reading something else, I guess, and maybe I'll film that one, and maybe you'll join me for the next one. So I don't really have much of a planned outro, so I guess that's it for this video. Peace out, BookTube.